Hello, my dear students. Let us learn more about the animal breeding. In the previous class, we have discussed about some aspects with the animal breeding. So, hope you all are remembering about the concepts what we learned here. So, mainly the concept is the animal breeding. Okay, the food production can be enhanced by using some of the modern techniques all of us have understood in the beginning, is it? So since human beings are being using the animals as well as plants for their welfare as well as food production can be enhanced if we concentrate on these aspects of breeding of animals. Thereby we can enhance the food production too. So enhancing the food production using some strategies which are scientific as well as a modern techniques to overcome some of the problems what we had in the traditional method is our overall aim. So here first let us understand breed. So already I have discussed in the last video what is a breed mean. Breed is a group of specific animals which are related by their configuration or by size or by their features or by their overall features will be common among this group of animals. So such group we call it as breed. And we have also understood some of the names of breeds in cattle, even in poultry farm, and also we have some common breeds. Commonly we use in the now dairy farm, in that we use mainly cattle farming. We have seen the common breeds like Jersey, Red Sindhi, then Sahiwal, then Gill. So these are some of the common breeds which can be seen in our locality. So this breed have some common features with respect to their size or features, then also with their respect to their with their yield and all. So this aim of animal breeding, why should we go for animal breeding? Animal breeding, it helps us to increase the yield as well as increase the productivity. So overall aim of this what is the aim of the animal breeding? Aim is to increase the yield of animal as well as to improve the desirable qualities of the product. So we have to increase the yield without compromising on the quality of it, the product. So yield also should be increased as well as we must not compromise with the quality. So quality as well as yield must also together has to be improved. So types, let us understand some of the types of animal breeding. So here animal breeding, it is a breeding between two animals of same breed. So here this can happen naturally as well as, right? And nowadays we have some techniques to by which we can do the artificial breeding as well as. So what is a natural breeding means? Natural breeding means breeding with the animals of closely related animals which occurs naturally among animals. It usually occurs naturally within the animals. Then that is the natural breeding. Okay. So natural breeding can be of two types, inbreeding and outbreeding. Natural breeding can occur inbreeding as well as by outbreeding methods. So inbreeding, what is inbreeding technique means? It refers to mating of animals of two closely related individuals which have the common ancestors. Okay. So inbreeding means mating of closely related animals. They should be closely related and within the same breed. How many within the same breed and having the common ancestors? Okay. So breeding between the animals or between the individuals within the same breed for 4 to 6 generations. Then we call it as inbreeding. The inbreeding strategy is it is like we have also we have discussed selection of a superior male and superior female. Then we have to do the crossing between this, right? Superior male and superior female is selected. Here the quality for the superior male is, it is a based on the based on the offsprings production as well as how the strength of the offsprings. Generally, it is based on the superior progeny. If the progeny is superior with all the qualities, then we consider it as a superior progeny. So if the bull has the ability to produce a superier progeny, then it is considered superior male, and based on the milk per lactation period, high milk per lactation period, that female is considered as one of the superior female, and it is here between this animal breeding is done, and this is done for continuously for how many generations. So what happens is we select this and do this inbreeding. Again it is done. So what happens when we do this for many generations? What happens? There is a chances of arising homozygosity, what we have learned in the genetics, where how the Mendel has selected the pure lines character. For example, by crossing tall and dwarf, he could see that in the F1 generation all were tall. So that was a pure line what he developed by crossing between tall and dwarf. Here when we breed, so when the breeding occurs naturally, that also between the same breed having some which is very closely related individuals, then there is a chance of occurring the homozygosity, which increases, which can suppress some of the characters and can lead to the homozygosity. Some of the characters can be expressed. So actually the aim of this breeding strategy or the animal breeding is to increase the yield, elimination of the desirable qualities and elimination of the undesirable qualities and expression of the desirable qualities. When it is done for many continuous generations, there is a chance of hiding of those superior quality also. So that's why that can lead to the decrease in yield. And so what is that? Inbreeding depression means the continued inbreeding, especially which breeding? Inbreeding, close inbreeding usually reduces fertility as well as productivity. The continuous closely related individuals, when they mated together for many generations, when the mating occurs between closely related individuals for many generations, then there is a loss of fertility and loss of productivity can also occur, and that phenomenon is known as inbreeding depression. So the inbreeding depression, or to restore this fertility and productivity, there is another technique is outbreeding. This outbreeding can be between the two different breeds or between the different species also. If this occurs between the breeds, for example, you might have heard about the red Sindhi and Jersey, right? So if the cross occurs or breeding is done between red Sindhi and Jersey, the resulting offspring is known as Jersind. Resulting offspring is called as Jersind. This is one of the example for the which type of method it is? Outbreeding. Okay, so the outbreeding, one example. And if this occurs, outbreeding between different breeds, and if this outbreeding, or how can we define this outbreeding strategy? The breeding between individuals, okay? So breeding between, there's a practice of mating of animals within the same breed. Practice of mating of animals within the same breed for which do not having no common ancestor on either side of their pedigree chart for up to 4 to 6 generations. So outbreeding definition I have given in the last class also. If not, you can take down from your textbook. The definition is like this. This is a practice of mating of animals within the same breed which having no common ancestor on either side of their pedigree up to 4 to 6 generations. Okay, then it is the outcrossing method, and this is one of the best method for animals that are below the productivity level as well as in the milk production, as well as to improve the growth rate in the cattle, beef, etc. This is one of the best method. Then crossing between superior males of one breed with the superior females of another breed, then it is known as crossbreed. Okay, breeding between superior males of one breed and superior females of another breed, then we call it as crossbreeding. And the advantage of this crossbreeding is that it allows a desirable quality to express in that new individual. So it combines the desirable qualities of the two breeds in a next generation, which is of commercial value. So that this method can be used for the commercial production. So for example, for this is the crossbreeding. What is the example we have? Yes, Hisardale. How this Hisardale is obtained? You remembering how the Hisardale is obtained? Hisardale is a new breed of sheep developed in Punjab by crossing Bikanari ewes and Merino rams. This is one of the method for cross breeding, one of the example for cross breeding. Okay, now interspecific hybridization. One more technique. The third method in the cross breeding is that it is interspecific hybridization. Hisardale is an example for cross breeding. Now, for interspecific hybridization, here male and females of two unrelated different species. Okay, different related species. The species will be little related, but they are not of same species. Okay, example is mule, which is developed by crossing between a female donkey and female horse and male donkey. So this is how this mule was obtained. You can see the picture given in the textbook of mule. It is a picture of a mule. So mule is an example for interspecific hybridization, a new breed developed as a result of interspecific hybridization. And here the best value of this method is that it allows the desirable qualities of the two specific breeds in a single breed. So it is, this progeny has a desirable features of both the species, and so that we can see the desirable qualities in the single individual, and it is of commercial value. What the product is produced here will have the commercial value. It is mainly used for the economic purpose or for the commercial value. This is having good importance. Okay, that's all about the animal breeding main types. Now let us go with the advanced techniques to overcome the problems of natural mating. See, what are the techniques to overcome the problems of natural mating or normal mating? So we are going to discuss the two methods. One is artificial insemination. Second method is the moit. What is moit? Anybody know? This is important. Moit is important because many times question used to come for the board exam to explain in detail. It is multiple ovulation embryo transfer. That is a moit. Moit and artificial insemination is one of the techniques to overcome the problems of normal matings. Here moit is used for increasing the herd size, whereas artificial insemination is used for inseminating the cow which is geographically separated or between the two breed, which has to also increase the disease resistant value in the new progeny. So usually artificial insemination, in short it is called as AI. It is a process of collecting semen from the superior male animals and manually depositing it into the reproductive tract of high yielding female. So that is the artificial insemination. The definition is the process of collecting semen from superior male animal and depositing manually into the reproductive tract of high yielding female. That technique is called as artificial insemination, and this technique useful to overcome or to produce the animal in a having the more disease resistant value as well as getting the more yield. Okay, so actual, and even this is more useful when two good quality cow as well as bull is geographically isolated. I said in the last class, in the previous video also, we have taken an example. If two animal, for example, a farmer thinking of crossing a cow with the bull of a Denmark, which having a high resistant value, so how can he obtain that bull? So either is it possible to carry the bull from Denmark, or is it possible to carry the cow from here to Denmark? Is both are, it is impossible, which is cannot be done with a normal farmer having a with a low economic production. So what has to be done? This is to overcome such problems. This is one of the best method. So what is done after collecting the semen? The semen from the bull is collected in vials. Usually that bull has a capacity to produce a high amount of semen, which can be collected in vials. Okay, the vials means like in a small containers. In small containers, or it is in that form, it is collected, then frozen in a liquid nitrogen and stored. It is later, it has to be maintained in a particular temperature. You have studied in the human reproduction what is the function of scrotum. Okay, so you have to relate that concept here also. So they have to be stored to make it functional. They have to be frozen in a liquid nitrogen and has to be stored. Then it is transported. So later it is transported to the required area, and it is what is done after taking to the required area. Then it is injected into the reproductive tract of the female cow. So here, otherwise, this semen which is stored in this frozen form can be collected from the farmer, or it can be sold in the market, and then this can be used to impregnate the cow. So later this transported, or it can be purchased from the farmer and used to impregnate. Okay, that's the word you can use. It is impregnate the cow. And this method, you might have seen those who have the cattle farm in your or cow in your home. You might have seen the veterinary doctor is carrying a box. Can you see a thermoflask flask like container they will bring, okay, during the heat period of the cow, so that they can inject the semen into the reproductive tract of the female. Thereby we are able to get the progeny of superior quality, and within the required time, within a short span of time, we are able to inject that, or we can normally, or we can mate that. We can do the breeding in the normal method, or in the artificially we can deposit the semen during the exact period with the help of this artificial insemination technique. So usually the veterinary doctor, what he carries with his bag, it is stored semen used for injecting or depositing in the reproductive tract of the female cow. So this method is called as artificial insemination. So in the next video, let us see how the moit is done. Otherwise, multiple ovulation embryo transfer technology, or multiple ovulation embryo transfer method. How it is done, let us see in the next video. Thank you. Hello students, we shall discuss about the advantages of artificial insemination or artificial breeding technique. So in the previous video we have learned how the artificial insemination is done, right? Are you cleared about that, about the artificial insemination, why it is done, what's the purpose of that, and what are the method? Now let us understand how it is advantageous and in what way it is useful than other techniques. So here this technique, we can say that it's one of the quick technique, because whenever it's required we can get the semen and can be artificially, it can breed the cow, so that need not to wait for the bull or any other way. Then so it is quick, then very simple method and one of the efficient method, which then comparing to the normal method of breeding. Then here the semen which is collected can be screened for disease causing agents also. One more advantage is that this semen, once it is collected, it can be screened for disease causing agents, because we have to ensure that there is no chance of spreading of disease causing agents. So once while collecting with the vials, you know that at once it can collect up to 500 vials, they can collect the semen. So this semen, once it is collected, it can be screened. So why the screening method is done? Screening is done to see or verify whether any disease causing agents like virus, bacteria are there, so that we can take precautions against, so that we can see that the hybrids can be produced without any disease. Okay, so disease resistant offsprings only will be produced. That is our ultimate aim. The second method is second method of artificial breeding technique is MOIT. This multiple ovulation embryo transfer technology. So this technique is only to the main method. My main objective of this method is to improve the herd size, herd improvement, HERD. What is HERD? To the main aim of this MOIT technique is to improve the herd size. So herd size means instead of producing one progeny at a time, there will be a number of progeny can be produced. So chances of fertilization can be more for that. See, sometimes artificial insemination can have some problems and cannot give the proper result also. These chances are there. Okay, so to overcome that problem of artificial insemination, this is the technique. This ensures that there is no problem with the artificial insemination, and there is a chances of breeding more in this. Okay, so here we say that this is a method to improve the chances of successful production of hybrids. Even though artificial insemination is very quick method, simple, efficient, there are chances that usually in normal estrous cycle, you have studied in the menstrual cycle or in the estrous cycle that usually per menstrual cycle one ova will be released. So usually if one ova is released, if that chances of fertilization is low, there is no more ova can be there to fertilize that period, and there is a loss of time also. So we have to wait for another heat period for breeding the cow. So to overcome that problem, this MOIT technique is very useful. The method is like this. First, cow is administered with the hormones. You must remember the hormone names here. This point or this concept is also related with the human reproduction chapter. Here, cow is administered with the hormones. Which hormones? With the FSH-like activity. FSH is follicular stimulating hormone. So this will stimulate, you know that, the action of LH, FSH during the menstrual cycle, which leads to the rupture of Graafian follicle and release the ova in case of humans. So similarly, the FSH activity has a similar role in the non-primates also, which helps for the follicular maturation, and that leads to the super ovulation. So first FSH hormone is induced, so that will induce the follicular maturity. So administration of FSH hormone is the first method here. That leads to the super ovulation. So why it is known as super ovulation is that instead of producing one egg per cycle, there will be 6 to 8 egg will be produced per each cycle. That is the advantage of this. The main purpose is here. See, usually in the normal estrous cycle, there will be one egg will be released. But instead of that, here, how many eggs are released? 6 to 8 eggs are released per cycle. Instead of one egg, there will be 6 to 8 egg will be produced. That's why it is known as the super ovulation. So what will be the next method? So now eggs are released. So during this time, insemination. So artificial insemination. So MOI technique is a combination of artificial insemination and an embryo transfer method. So both are combined here. So artificial insemination is done during this time, and then otherwise, if the artificial insemination we are not following, means the animal is mated with an elite bull. So normal mating also can be carried out during this period. Now what happens next once the release of ova is also done, insemination also done. That's next step is during the first sexual reproduction, fertilization, fusion of gametes, then comes the fertilization. Fertilization leads to the what is the next step? So what happens when during the fertilization? We know that once the gametes are fused, zygote is formed. Zygote starts to multiply and number of cells go on increasing. The fertilized eggs at 8 to 32 celled stage. When that fertilized cell or fertilized egg reaches to the cell at a stage of 8 to 32 cells. Even this is also part of the embryonic development. You have studied about the blastula, gastrula and all. So these stages are based on the number of cells during that stage. So when the egg reaches to the 8 to 32 celled stage, okay, when the egg reaches to the 8 to 32 celled stage, then that eggs are non-surgically removed. Okay, you don't think that surgery is done, then we will take the part of the skin of the animal, will remove the egg. No, nothing like that. It is not surgically, it is removed with the technique, with the hygienic manner, with the giving proper care. Then it is transferred to the surrogate mother. Okay, so here two names are there, two mother we will say here. One is genetic mother, one is a surrogate mother. This we know that we have also you might have seen in the news channels or in the some of the news, but is which how they can get the child through a surrogate mother, getting a surrogate child to a surrogate mother. So all those are there even in the human beings also nowadays. If their age is too much, or the couples are unable to produce a child, then they will go for opting the surrogate mother. So here also genetic mother is there, surrogate mother also there. For the surrogate mother, that fertilized egg is transferred. Genetic mother in which the eggs are produced and where the fertilization is done. So that's why we call it as genetic mother and surrogate mother. Then the fertilized eggs at 8 to 32 celled condition, it is non-surgically removed and transferred to the surrogate mother. Understood this much? Got clear? Okay, now what happens? Now what about the genetic mother? The genetic mother is here the first one which we have administered the hormones, that is a genetic mother. This genetic mother will be available for another round of super ovulation. So that previous technique has to be continued further, so that in the market they can yes, market value can be improved as well as for the commercial production. Here, main purpose is to increase the yield as well as to increase the herd size. So, by adopting this method, they can increase the herd size, and at a time they can produce than one progeny, they can produce more number of progeny. So genetic mother after this method, so you may have the doubt. Now once it is transferred to the surrogate mother, what about that initial mother who has implanted that, or who has on which the fertilization or the release of egg has been taken place. So that mother is genetic mother, will be ready for, it can be used for another round of super ovulation. And this technology is not only used in the cattle, even it is used in the demonstrated in the sheep, rabbits, buffaloes, mates, etc. So this technique is not only employed in cattle, it is also used in the animals like, what are the animals it is then apart from cattle? Cattle is the main purpose, main target. Then it is also used in rabbit. Okay, it is also employed in which are the cases we can employ this? Sheep, buffaloes, which is of commercial value. See, sheep are used for producing wool, right? So those animals which have the commercial value on that animal, we can use these techniques. Buffaloes, you know that have high milk yielding capacity. Buffaloes, and even in mares. So in all these animals, we can use this moit technique to improve the herd size. Then here one more thing is we have to improve that. Here we can improve the high milk yielding breeds of females, and high quality meat yielding bull have been bred successfully to increase herd size in a short time. So we select the two animals which have the, in female, which have the high milk yielding capacity, and if a male means we consider which can give the a good quality yielding meat yielding bull also selected for increasing the herd size, because in the resulting progeny we are expecting the yield also should be good, health also should be good, and meat also should be good. So you may think why it is used for the meat, is it used for meat? But in the foreign countries that also purpose is there for them. Meat production also have the equal importance here in the dairy farming. So this is the advantage. So here main advantage is that more ova, and what's the next? If there is more number of ova, hence more embryo. This is a technique used here. More number of ova is released, thereby more number of embryo also released. So this embryo transfer technique, surrogate mothers, helps to improve breeding. Okay, so that's all about the moit. So let me discuss once again about the moit. So students, please make a note, this is important, which can be asked for 5 marks, as well as it can be expected for long answer type questions. So you have to make a flow chart and write. Wherever is missing, you can add some more points. Okay. So first step here, moit, first another name is super ovulation. The expansion of these terms, letters are multiple ovulation, embryo transfer technology. This method is to improve the successful production of hybrid. This method is used for improving the herd size. To increase the herd size is the main aim or goal of this technique. First method is cow is administered with the hormones. Which hormones? Which follicular stimulating hormones are administered into the cow to induce the follicular maturation. To induce follicular maturation, the FSH hormone is administered into the cow. Okay, that leads to the superovulation. That the superovulation is that instead of 1 egg per cycle, 6 to 8 eggs per cycle are released. Then later, once the eggs are released, during that period, the artificial insemination is done, or normal mating also can be done with an bull. Then that leads to the fertilization. That fertilization results in the production of 8 to 32 cells. So at this condition, when this eggs reaches to the 8 to 32 celled condition, then non-surgically it is removed and transplanted into the surrogate mother. Now the genetic mother will be ready for another round of super ovulation, and this technique has been demonstrated on which animals? Then apart from cattle, it is also used in rabbit, increasing the herd size of rabbit, to increase the herd size of sheep, to increase the herd size of buffaloes, as well as to increase the herd size of maize. It is used. So here, in a short period of time, we can improve the herd size also. That is the animal husbandry. So thereby we have completed the animal breeding part. Now animal husbandry, it also involves beekeeping and fisheries, right? In the beginning we have learned how the poultry farm and dairy farm management is done, where the rearing of, breeding of poultry, birds as well as cattle are done in a scientific manner by giving proper shelter, proper nutritive food, and giving the proper food on time. So beekeeping or apiculture and as well as pisciculture, or we can also call it as fisheries, this also forms a part of animal husbandry. You know, beekeeping or apiculture. So what is apiculture is our next topic. So apiculture, it's a rearing of honey bee for honey. So here honey is of commercial value. You know the importance of honey. Honey is of high nutritive value, which is very much important in the field of medicines, and it also contains some of the very important vitamins like vitamin B, then also contains the vitamin D, and also apiculture also helps to produce, it also produces wax, right? So wax also having lot of importance in production of the preparation of cosmetics, polishes, then also in some other commercially useful products. So in the next video, let us discuss more about the beekeeping and fisheries. Okay, so up to here we have learnt about the animal husbandry, then animal breeding. So all these techniques are important. You have to study in detail about all this, make a chart and understand, as well as compare and study. There is a chance of confusing with the outbreeding, outcrossing, crossbreeding, interspecific hybridization. So just to make a note that you just make a table and study. So there is no chance of confusion. Okay. Thank you. Learn properly and also read the textbook. It also important. Reading the textbook also important, and refer some extra books also for adding more points.